Hello everyone, it's Jen here, also known as the Diamond Painting Gamer, and a very warm welcome to my channel. So, um, this is the combination diamond painting and paint by number kit that I unboxed not that long ago. Actually, it's probably a couple of weeks ago by the time this goes up. But yes, I have done the diamond painting part. I decided I would tackle it that way, essentially because I think I could get the paint off the drills better if I got paint on them, rather than trying to clear paint off the sticky area. The other advantage is that I don't have the plastic sheet to worry about. So yeah, so I think for those two reasons, I thought I'll go with the drills first. Now, I have kind of semi-prepared my canvas for the painting part. I thought I would do the painting part, the painting part as like partly as a whip and chat. I might do a time lapse as well through it, because the paint by number part isn't actually very big. As you can see, it's a very simple image. Drills, absolutely no problem with. It looks pixelated when you go close up, but when you pull further away, sorry, it looks a lot better. So as well as putting the drills down, what else have I done? Oh, cat's scratching at the door, but there's absolutely no way I'm letting him in when I'm painting, because he'll jump up and it'll just turn into an absolute disaster. So he'll get bored and wander off at some point, I think, because he sounds quite angry. Well, not angry, but demanding. Anyway, what else have I done to prepare this canvas? Well, first of all, I have taken a photo of it, basically because there was no reference sheet that came with this. Quite often in premium paint, well, not quite often, in premium paint by number kits, what you will get is you'll get a reference sheet, which is essentially just a piece of paper with the image on it, with the spaces and the numbers, just so that you know it's there for you if you make a mistake, or if you paint over a number and it extends over a large area, just to remind you what that paint colour is. So I have taken a photo of this as a reference. So yes, that's top tip number one. If ever you're doing paint by number and there is no reference sheet, take a picture. Okay, that way you'll be fine if you mess up at all. The other thing that I've done is I've outlined the paint by number section with some masking tape, kind of like if you're doing any sort of painting at home. Say you're painting a door, for example, or a skirting board, you want to put that masking tape down to stop the paint sort of like going onto the areas that you don't want it to. So I've done it here. So basically we've got a nice crisp edge around the painting. So he is not going away. He is absolutely determined to get in. So what I'm going to do is, he's actually just come in from being outside. I've fed him, but I'm actually going to pause the video. I'm going to go and give him some more food, and that'll hopefully fill his tummy and make him sleepy. Okay, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I'm back. Yeah, his food bowl was empty, so I've filled it up again. Hopefully he'll have a lot to eat, not too much because I don't want him being sick. And yeah, that'll be hopefully he'll go for a nice nap now. He's been out all night, so, but he may appear in 5 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I put masking tape all around it outside to give it that nice crisp edge. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a colour swatch. A couple of reasons why you would do a colour swatch. One is to check, there he is. I'm ignoring him. One is to see how your colours look on the canvas, and the other thing, and to me I think the most important thing, is to make sure that your colour will cover up the numbers fine. The paints can be opaque, semi-opaque and translucent, and basically, if your paints are opaque, they're a nice usually got a nice kind of creamy base. Paints that are semi-opaque are less creamy, and paints that are translucent have got no creaminess to them at all. And you know, it's a degree of whiteness that's in there, you know. So paints that have got a lot of white, for example, in it, in the mix, will be more opaque than paints that do not have a lot of white in them. So I think these ones will be fine, but as you get darker, we might have an issue with darker ones, but we'll have a look and see how it is. So I haven't done anything else with the canvas. I did mention about gesso before, but we will do that after we do colour swatch. Now, normally what I would do with colour swatch is using a black pen, usually a Sharpie, a fine line Sharpie. I would just make a mark down the side with all the different numbers and paint over them. But because I've only got 6 colours in this, what I'll do is I'll do the colour swatch directly on the canvas. I'll cover up the numbers. Okay, so I've got my pot of water. I've got some kitchen roll, a paper towel. Some people can't use baby wipes, that's absolutely fine. I have got little cocktail sticks in case I need to mix the paint. I also have this, which is a flow aid. You can add that to your paint if it's very thick and you need to revive it. To be fair, you can get away with water. It's just, you know, this stuff here, you know, I would use if the paint was really crusty and dried out. But looking at that, I don't have that issue. So let's go with number 6 first of all. We'll start with the lightest and we'll work our way to the darkest. When you do paint by numbers, that's how I tend to work. So this is the number 6. Okay, what we'll do is we will zoom down so you can see a bit better. There we go. So there we go, that's number 6, and it does seem to be covering it up very nicely. Yeah, pretty good with number 6. We're getting a lot of coverage there. Now, if you don't manage to get, well, we can come on to it, but if you do have translucent paint and it doesn't cover up the number or the lines very well, then what you can do is you can get some basic white paint and cover up the number, and yeah, that should work. That should work. Right, okay, let's go with number 5. So there's a number 5 here. I can see it through a little, but not very much. And quite often you find that, you know, just going over things a second time, you know, very rarely do I use one coat on paint by numbers. You might need to go over things a second time. So yeah, you can see that number 5 is coming through a little bit. I don't know whether you can see it there. I can see it. So yeah, that might need a couple of coats on it. Also, when the paint dries, you know, quite often it can thin out a little bit, and you see the number through once it's dried. But you just go over and touch up. Okay, let's go with number 4. Okay, so here's a number 4 here. Four seems to be covering a little better than number 5. I can still see it peeking through though. Now, a lot of this might be down to the fact that the paint might be sliding around a little bit. I did mention I will be gessoing this canvas. The paint, this is very, very smooth. so the paint may not grip to the canvas quite as much as it could. So if you put gesso on, the paint will grip more, and that will help in your coverage. So it could be that once I've gessoed, those numbers will cover up a lot better. Okay, now we're on to number 3. And here's a number 3 here. This has got a good section actually, because there's a lot of well, number 3 seems to be covering up very well at the moment. Okay, so that's us on number 3. But yeah, you just need to put a little splodge over each of the numbers. And we shall go for number 2. Oh, this pot's not opening. We will get it, we will get it. There we go. That's it open now. Number 2. Oh, that's covering really well. And rinse the brush off. And last but not least, number 1. Right. Okay, so if we look at the area that we've swatched, so this was number 1. Looks like it's covered really well. Oh, sorry, that was number 6. Sorry, I went backwards. Number 6. Number 5, you can see the numbers coming through it. Okay, so I might need to do something about that. Number 4, again, you can see the numbers starting to come through, as with number 3. Number 2, a little bit, and number 1 is completely covered. So we have number 6, number 1, which are opaque, so they're covered completely, and we have got 2, 3, 4 and 5, which are semi-opaque, so you know they're covering quite well, but you are still seeing the number coming through, and that would also go with the lines. You would see the lines coming through as well. So I think it's good that we don't have any translucent paints there. I think the gessoing and just, you know, another layer of paint on top will cover up that number fine. But as I said, the other way to try and cover up those numbers is yeah, to put a little bit of white paint down. You can actually buy white paint in a pen form, actually, which I think I've got. Hold on, I'll just see if I can find it in my drawer. Okay, so I have found my white paint pen. I think it was a couple of pounds. Again, I think I got this in an art shop. So you can see the nib there. I have has been quite well used. Hopefully it still works fine. But yes, it's a white paint pen, and you can use that to cover up the numbers. So let's see if we can cover up number 4. There's a few number 4s in this one area, so actually let's dab it down here because it was used quite a lot on another painting. There we go. So you can see that's dabbed on there, and that's covered up that number 4 perfectly. So yeah, you can use that, and that'll help cover up your numbers for you. So this is part of the reason, in fact it's not part of the reason, but it is a major reason why I took a photo of the canvas before I started, because if I go around covering up all those numbers, I'm not going to I'm not going to know what the number is. I mean, I will here, because like the 4 also, you know, it's been numbered multiple times in the one area, so there's another 4 there, so I know that's a 4. But yeah. So top tip, definitely the most important top tip is take a picture if you don't have a reference sheet. So what I'm going to do is I am going to let that dry. It will take approximately 20 minutes or so. It's acrylic paint, it does dry quite quick. And once it's completely dry, then yeah, we'll come back and, oh gosh, I've got a cat hair on here already. I tell you, they get everywhere. I'll get rid of this cat hair for a start, and yeah, we'll get back and we'll do some gessoing. Yeah, so I shall see you shortly. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes or so, and the paint that I swatched onto the canvas is now dry, so we are now ready to gesso. This is the gesso that I use. It's a clear gesso. You can get different colours. You can get white. I've seen Bob Ross use black as a base for some paintings that he's done. You know, we all love a bit of Bob Ross. Anyway, so yes, I use the clear gesso because obviously I want to see the numbers through it and the lines. So as I said, what this does is it provides a base to the canvas. It gives it a grip. And yeah, I normally put a couple of layers on. I'll put one layer going horizontally and another layer going vertically. But obviously, because I have already drilled this, it may, you know, I'll just kind of maybe spludge around that area a little bit. So yeah, I think I'm not entirely sure what gives the gesso its texture. I think it's kind of chalky. So you can see, even though this is white on the brush, it is clear when it goes on. You know, you can see through everything. We'll just go around her hair there. So now you see why I kind of wanted to do the drilling first, because you know, I would have to be I would have to navigate the coloured not the colour, sorry, I would have to navigate the sheet, the you know, the clear plastic sheet that goes on top of the diamond painting, and I wasn't going to do that. You know, if I rolled it back, then the sheet may stick, and if I you know, if I rolled it back, the sheet may flop forward and it would stick. If I now I've got gesso on the drills. Now the thing is, it will dry clear, that's not an issue, but what we can do is we can just get a little bit of water on a piece of paper towel. It's that wonderful brand of paper towel that my favourite, that doesn't disintegrate when you get it wet. Actually, a cotton bud might be better. Anyway, that gesso will dry clear, so I'm not too worried about that really. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I would have to negotiate the plastic cover, which you know, I wasn't going to entertain So for example, the so here, come out of the paintbrush. So for example, the I could either have left it on and just held it back with a cover minder, for example, but that would need to stay back until the paint was dry. Or what would happen, because what would happen would be the colour, the paper would, you know, you know what I mean, the plastic would have flopped over onto the bit that had been painted, and it might stick, or, you know, mess the paint around. So yeah, that's why I didn't do it that way. And the other way is maybe to take the paper off, the plastic cover off completely. However, what that would do would be you'd run the risk of having things stick. I'm going to use a smaller brush to apply the gesso here. As I said, I'm not overly worried that it's getting on the drills. Speed open it. Yeah, not overly worried that it's getting on the drills at all, so because it will dry clear. So just like the what was I going to say, the paint, the gesso will take approximately 20 minutes or so to dry, maybe a little longer, because it is very liquid. As you can see, I don't know whether it's whether you can tell, but it is a lot more liquid than the paint. So there's another here, sorry, here, brush here, brush here. So yeah, it does take a little bit of time to dry because it is a bit more liquid. If I was going to be doing like a large paint by number, I would leave 24 hours. Okay, sorry about that. Hubby just came in to get something out the drawer. Almost done. Yeah, as I was saying, as if I was doing a large paint by number, then I would, a lot of them tend to be about 40 by 50 centimeters. I would just leave it overnight to dry. Excuse me. Before I start the actual painting. The other thing I've done a little slightly different as well here is, you know, if I do a large paint by number, I actually I stretch the canvas and I fasten it to the my board, but I'm not doing it in this case because it's kind of small and it gives me a bit more maneuverability. Right, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up around the drills with a little bit of water. Sorry, he came back in again. I should start to put a sign on my door. Don't come in recording. Right, so that's the first layer of gesso applied. So again, I'm going to set this aside for probably about half an hour. Yeah, it does still feel a little bit damp, and we'll just let that dry completely, and yes, we'll when it has dried completely, I'll come back and we can start to do a little bit of the actual painting itself. So yeah, I like a lot of painting. You know, I think the secret is in the preparation. If you get the preparation right, then the actual painting itself will be a lot easier, you know, go a lot better. Right. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you in a little bit once this has all dried out. Okay. Okay, so it has been a couple of hours. The gesso has dried. I don't think I'll need to do a second coat. Okay, it feels pretty good. It feels quite rough now, which is what I was looking for. So I have a little selection of brushes here. There we go, various different size brush heads, and yeah, let's get started in doing the painting. So what I normally do is I normally work from light to dark. So in this case it will be number 6 down to number 1. So what we'll do is we'll just carry on with this bit here that I had started when I was doing the swatching. I'll also put my side light on, okay, because I can see a lot better with that side light on. So what I tend to do first of all is I will fill in the bulk of the space. This is a nice big space. This will fill up quite quick. So we'll keep going. This number 6 is kind of like an off-white. But I won't go right up to the edge. What we'll do is we'll go almost to the edge. This paint is lovely and creamy. It's going on really, really well, as you can see. Yep, it's not looking too bad. Okay, might take up to about there. So that is sort of like the main, you know, quite a large area coloured in or filled in with paint. Wash my brush. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a finer brush. Again, we're on paint colour number 6. And we will just fill in up to the edge. Now when you do the paint by numbers, you kind of want to cover the line. So it's not like when you colour in and you kind of go up to the line. You actually want to cover the line because you don't want that line showing through. And this is the other reason why I do light to dark, because if you were to go dark to light, the dark colour would override the light. So yeah, it's easier to go light to dark. So yeah, it's just a matter of taking your time. You cannot rush paint by number. You cannot rush it at all. Which is why I thought when I was going to do the show this paint by number off, or try this combination diamond painting paint by number, was I thought, well, I want to get something with quite big spaces and something that was not a lot of colours and was quite simple, because to go with something a bit complex with lots of little spaces and lots of colours, that would take a very long time to do. It would take months. I wanted something that I could do in a matter of a couple of weeks rather than a couple of months. We'll come round here. And down here. Okay, now we're going to be quite careful here up against the drills that we don't get paint on them. But if we do get paint on them, it's not too much of an issue, because we can just get a cotton bud or a bit of paper towel and some water and clean them up. But it is very calming. So if you just hold on a sec, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop there and I'm going to bring this up so you can see. Now, like diamond painting, paint by number, when it's close up, it doesn't look all that brilliant. I mean, it is meant to be viewed from a distance. Okay, so that's the kind of thing we're aiming for on our first coat. This could take a couple of coats to do. To finish it all, to sort of give it a proper coverage. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to pop this onto time lapse, and yeah, we'll see how far we get going in this first sitting. I'm hoping to do all of the number 6s. Yeah, let's get us onto the time lapse. here is the finished piece. Now we are finishing the video in pretty much the same way as we started the video. There is a cat behind me. This time it's the other one, and she is purring fit to burst, so you may hear some purring going on. She is pretty loud. Anyway, yeah, so here is the finished article. I didn't need 2 coats. I just needed 1 coat of paint. Although I did go over some of the numbers again, but it's looking really good. Particularly from a distance, which and it's coming across really well in the camera. I think actually now on reflection I might touch up some of these bits here, but anyway, we'll worry about that later. I've taken the masking tape off from around the side, so you can see I've got a nice crisp edge to the painting. I've cleaned up the drills I've splodged paint on. The only ones that I couldn't get paint off properly were these strands of hair here, but guess what? I kept my drills back, so what I just did was I picked off the ones that I couldn't actually clean up properly and replaced them. So there we go. There is a top tip for you if you are looking to do one of these combination diamond paintings and paint by numbers. I think the way that I've gone about it is been quite good. You know, do the diamond painting first, so you don't have to worry about the plastic cover getting in your way, and then do the paint by number part. And you can always clean up your drills, or if you keep a hold of your drills, replace any that are just got you know, too badly covered with paint. So a couple of things that I did, I kind of changed things around a little bit as I was painting. I did find that the paint, after I had, you know, was working with it for a few minutes, I did think it was quite on the thick side, and I wasn't getting, it wasn't spreading and flowing nice and easy. So I did add a couple of drops of Flow Aid into the paint, and it, you know, it spread really well after that. You don't need Flow Aid, you can use water, it does the same job. What else? Oh yes, I started by filling in the inside and then going around the outside. So then actually halfway through I switched and I did it the other way. I started the edges and then I filled in the middle. You know, we flip-flop around like that. That's whatever works best. There is no right way and there is no wrong way to doing things. You just kind of find your own groove as you're working. The other thing that I decided to do was, because this is a background and it's quite abstract in a way, it's not defined, I didn't pay close attention to the edges. I used the edges more of a guide to where the colours go, rather than, or stop, or could be blended together, which I didn't do in this case. I didn't blend them. But yeah, as a guide to where the colours are placed, rather than fastidiously like staying to the lines and getting all that fine detail in. In this case, it didn't really matter. There's no need for fine detail in this. It is the background. The detail, if you think about it, is in the lady here in the foreground who has been diamond painted. So it would be a different kettle of fish if there were fine detail in there. Say, for example, if there was a fence, or if there was, you know, maybe some birds in the sky, or, I mean, there's no sky here, but, you know, if there was any sort of detail, then it would be different. I would, you know, be a little bit more strict with how I stay within the lines. But yeah, because this is just like a background, and it's a nondescript background, it's just colour, then you're fine. You know, the thing is, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. You know, you just go with the flow. It's like diamond painting, you know, yeah, the little squares tell you where the colours go, but you can chop and change it up as you want. You know, we do that. We add ABs, we maybe add crystals, enhancements, maybe swap colours out if we're not happy with some, you know, things like skin tones. It's the same with paint by number. You know, if you don't like the way it's prescribed there, and if you feel that, you know, you're happier doing it a different way, then, you know, go for it, do it, you know. In this case, it doesn't take away from the picture at all. Plus, it makes it a much more enjoyable experience. You know, if you're doing a diamond painting, if you're doing a paint by number, and you're sort of like, you know, constraining yourself to doing a particular way, you're not going to enjoy yourself as much as if you were, you know, just going at it ad hoc, willy-nilly. But I would say that gessoing it did help. You know, prepping the canvas, putting the gesso down, bordering it with the masking tape. Yeah, those things definitely did help. Definitely did help. You could do this with the. I used a combination of my brushes and the brushes that came with the kit. I mean, you can do the same, you know, you can, it's perfectly fine to use the brushes that came with the kit. You would probably go on fine without gessoing the canvas as well. Just add a little bit of water to your paints, that's all I would recommend, just to make it flow easier. Also, you may need to add a little bit extra coats, maybe an extra coat or two around where the numbers and the lines are, just to cover them up if you haven't got the gesso. But as you can see, there is plenty of paint. There is gallons of the stuff. Well, not literally gallons, but there's lots of it. Well, anyway, yeah, I've enjoyed doing this. I will link it down below. There are a few, I think there's 3 or maybe 4, maybe 3 different canvases to try. This one I think was the simplest one. The other one that I remember was what I thought was to be the trickiest one, which is a Lighthouse Landscape. There was a lot more colour in that and a lot more fine detail, particularly with the landscape at the background, where you would have to pay a bit more attention to detail. This, you know, it kind of looks like a partial, really. Well, that's what it is. It's a partial. And what it is that, you know, instead of having a white background or a printed background, the background's done as a paint by number. That's essentially what you've got here. Yeah. Will I try another one? Maybe. It would have to be the right painting. I just picked this up as an experiment to see what it was like, and to show on my channel, so that you can see what it's like. But yeah, it would have to be the right painting and something that I really wanted to do for me to get another one. But yep, if you're interested, why don't you give it a go? You know, it was a bit of fun. It was a little bit different. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please hit the thumbs up button if you've liked the video, and if you could hit that subscribe button on the way out if you haven't done so already, it would be really appreciated. Okay, well, thank you again, and I shall see you all in my next video. Cheerio, guys.